In this video, we're going to be looking at Ming the Merciless from NECA Toys' new Defenders of the Earth series. I've actually been looking forward to checking this line out. I've been very curious because these are based, the body bases are used on the DC figures they made a while back with Superman versus the Alien and Batman versus Predator. These look to be using the same bodies, which I never got any of those. I've been really curious to see how these are built. I know NECA figures are notoriously fragile. It's like I think even on their social media they post, they actually suggest soaking your figures in warm water if your joints are stuck. I'm hoping these are built a little bit higher standard than a lot of older NECA figures. With the packaging, it's got like a night sky motif on the design on the front. Nice artwork of Ming the Merciless on the front. There's a nice big window where you can see all the accessories he comes with. He comes with a serpent staff, laser blaster, blast effect, and sword. And you can also be seen through the window. You get the Defenders of the Earth logo on the side. He's number 3 in the line. Defenders of the Earth logo on top. Warning hazard, choking hazards. Ages 14 and up. Another logo on the back. You can see the other figures in the line. The ones that's been released so far is Flash Gordan, Phantom, and Ming the Merciless. They just revealed some product imaging of the Lothar. Haven't seen Mandrake the Magician in figure form yet. We've just seen the prototypes here like it was a Toy Fair last year, around this time. You get a picture of Ming the Merciless. You get the name, ruler of the evil planet Mongo. Bio here, if you want to pause it and read there. So you got your development, which is nice. You got your product development, Randy Falk, sculptors, fabricators, paint, prototypes, and character illustrators. That's really cool that they added all this to the box. Bottom you have your UPC, if anybody needs that to try to locate one. Okay, let's get Ming out of the packaging and get a closer look. Here we have Ming in the plastic tray. As you can see, he actually comes with a few more accessories you couldn't see before. He has an extra hand, it's a pointing finger, and a blast effect for the laser pistol. And it actually is a cloth cape, and it is a wired cape, which is nice. Now let's free Ming from the plastic tray. Here we have Ming freed from the plastic tray. And what they say about NECA figures is true again. The majority of his joints are stuck, and I am not going to force it. Before we take a closer look at the figure, I'm going to have to heat this sucker up to free the joints. Before we do that, let's look at the accessories. Here we have a long blast effect for the pistol. It's got a little hole it plugs it with the barrel can plug into. And we have a muzzle flash style blast effect. We have a pointing finger for his left hand. There's nice detail of the ring on the finger. Beautifully done sword, like the saber style sword. Got the nice guard piece, painted gold, with the black and red, with the red accents, the silver gunmetal blade, and a red gemstone at the end of the sword. And here we have his staff with a dragon looking head on the top of the staff, much like a Skeletor's Havoc staff. Before we can really take a good look at the figure, I'm going to have to heat it up to free the joints. Right now the boot swivels are stuck, the hips are barely able to move. You can go forward and back, but it's super tight. This bicep swivel is free. Double joint arms free. Wrist swivel is free. Hinged is fine. The ab crunch is stuck. The bicep is stuck over here. The arm double joint. One joint is stuck. So it's working like a single joint right now. Swivel, hinge. The neck moves fine. So I'm going to have to do a lot of heating, and I can't use hot water because of the fabric cape, which does have some bendy wire in it. It's not attached to the body in a way where you can actually pose the cape easily. You can get some movement out of it, but it's not fixed to the body enough. The wires are here and not attached to the collar, so it limits your amount that you can actually pose the cape. I do like the colors, the shiny purple and the shiny red. Okay, I'm going to go heat this up and we'll start the review back. After spending a few minutes with a blow dryer heating up the joint, I was able to get everything freed up and moving properly now. After freeing the joints, I also added a little bit of Liberty oil products, synthetic lubricant for use for RC vehicles in each of the stuck joints. Now everything moves nice and freely. Don't have to worry about it being breaking, sticking on me. The hips now move. The ab crunch moves. The waist twist. Now that everything's moving properly, let's take a nice look at the details on this figure. First thing you'll notice on the paint and the detail on the figure is stunning. I love all the gold accents, the ornate around the collar, the gauntlets, the ring, the staff. Everything is just beautiful on this figure. Paint apps are clean. The face is really detailed. Love the big flowing cape. Only thing to make the cape better if the wire was attached to the collar, like I mentioned before. Right now it's the wires stop before it meets the body, which will limit some of your posing ability with the cape, but you still can get some nice flow with having it being a wired cape. With everything freed up and the joints lubed, let's do a quick rundown articulation on this figure. I'll remove the staff while we're doing this. The head is on like a double ball peg. It's got plenty of roll around, great movement within the head. It's almost could be the one part is actually a little bit loose but it still gives you a good range of movement. Disc hinge shoulders, they go out this far. Bicep swivel. So after some heat and a little bit of synthetic lubricant, it actually moves really freely. Double jointed elbows. Swivel, hinge and swivel wrist. There's an ab crunch, which bends this far forward. There's a waist twist. There's universal joint style hips. And the hips can kick out this far. Back this much. Kick out this far. There is thigh swivel. Double joint knees. Boot swivel. Hinged ankles. Ankle pivots. And toe hinges. There is a lot of articulation on this figure. Well, of course, once it's freed up, it moves really well. With the hand, it's actually easy to change out. Simple peg system. The hands easily exchange. You can just pop them in, pop them out. You know, style pose hands, which comes pre-installed on the figure. He's got, would have liked to have an extra hand for this side because it's always a grip hand. But let's see. Let's see what he looks like with holding the ray gun. Nice tight grip on the gun. Would have liked to have this hand to be in a vertical hinge instead of a horizontal hinge. Limits how you can pose. Since he both has a staff, sword, and gun, all for the grip hand, it should have been a vertically hinged hand. He grips the gun well, even with the horizontal hinge hand. It still looks good. See how well it looks with the blast effect on it. I think it looks really cool there. We have the muzzle flash style blast effect we looked at earlier, which also looks good. Let's swap out for the sword. The sword is actually a little, I don't know if it's just where I had the gun in. It's going to be a looser fit now. It flops around a bit. This is where you're going to really see the limitations of not having a vertical hinge with having a sword. Let's go ahead and switch back to the staff. These figures are actually a 1/10 scale or 7-inch scale figures, so they won't really scale too well with Marvel Legends unless you just want the characters to be bigger, larger than life. So I kind of wouldn't actually mind having Ming be bigger, but I bought these for display of a certain line, which I'll show in a moment. First up, let's do some size comparison with some other figures. Here's Ming next to Gamerverse Spider-Man in a Bucky cap, with a G.I. Joe classified Snake Eyes and a Mayfix Robocop. Here he is next to DCUC Superman and a Marvel Legends Luke Cage. Here he is next to 80th Anniversary Iron Man and Captain America. And here he is next to Master Universe Classic Skeletor and He-Man. And these are the two figures I was wanting to really see what these look like next to most. So I'm planning on displaying my Defenders Earth figures with my Motu Classics. This is the only other 7-inch line I actually collected. All in all, it's a great looking figure. I did have the issue with a lot of people are having with the tight, stuck joints, but with a little bit of heat and a little bit of synthetic lubricant to loosen up the joints. It is a shame that you have to actually have a little bit of fixes on these NECA figures once you get them, but it's not the worst case. I've had some NECA figures, just especially the original Alien figures, they would just snap at the hips. This one seems to be pretty well solid. It just is almost a little bit too solid before, of course, but now everything moves freely. Nice free moving joints. The design of the figure is just gorgeous looking figure. This was actually the first figure I've got in this line, and with the Defenders of the Earth. I was actually wanting to use this one to see if I want to get the rest of the figures, how the quality is. So like I mentioned before, the only two other out right now is Flash Gordon and the Phantom. Lothar and Mandrake the Magician are coming out later. That will finish up the team. I don't know what their plans with anything else with the Defenders of Earth. These are based on the cartoon series of back in the day. I never watched that series. I never even heard of the cartoon series until I called it late night one night and watching forget what channel it was. I think it was maybe Island or something like that was doing late night cartoons or something like that. And I caught the Defenders of Earth cartoon. And that was in the last 7 years or so when I first saw that. I mainly know the characters from their old comics and, of course, the Flash Gordon movies and serial strips. The Ming was a must-get for me. With such a great design for villain, I had to add him to my collection. In my collection, Ming was going to be teaming up with Skeletor and his evil minions to take down the forces of good. Kind of hurts with recommending the figure or not, since you actually have to do some fixes when you get the figure to actually pose the figure. But I'm used to working on figures, so that was no big deal for me. But I do recommend the figure. Just be cautious. If your joints are stuck, do not force them. That's the worst thing you can do. You're just going to break your figure. Always heat your joints if they're stuck and try to move them, break them free. And I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to watch and review. And please like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.